Hello and welcome to piano lesson number 6. My name is Anna Whistler if you're just joining, and I am a pianist and a piano teacher. If you'd like to start learning piano with me from scratch, you can click this link, which will take you to the first lesson in my series. So last lesson, we did another rhythmic variation with the Twinkles, and I also got started introducing you to some left hand chords. So we're going to delve wholly into the chords today and pairing the left hand chords with the right hand twinkles. So without further ado, let's get to the lesson. All right, so in our last lesson, I introduced 3 different chords with the left hand. The first chord that we took a look at was a C chord, C in the pinky, E in the middle finger, G in the thumb. The second chord was an F inversion, C staying, pinky staying on C, 2-finger playing where it naturally falls on F, and then stretching the thumb ever so slightly to A. That's our F inversion, F chord. And then the third chord that we did was an inversion of a G7 chord. So 2 fingers staying there, thumb on G and pinky stretching to B. So hopefully after a week of practicing this, you're feeling pretty comfortable and maybe even a little fluid going between these chords. Because what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of put them in a structure, in a chord pattern, and one that sort of jives with the twinkles so that we can ultimately put it together with the right hand. So let's take a look at this left hand chord pattern. You're going to start with a C. You're going to go to F, back to C. Okay. So that's our first little bit. C, F, C. Now you're going to go to G7, C, G7, C, just like this. And just so you're kind of keeping this in mind with the twinkles, this is how it lines up. C, F, C, that was the first bit that we did. Then the G7, C 2 times. G7, C, G7, C. Okay. Now we're going to do C, F, C, G7. Okay, so C, F, C, G7. Let's try that one more time. C, F, C, G7. Okay, now that's going to go with Now again, don't feel like you have to play those hands together right now. We're not quite there yet. I'm just wanting you to hear how it's going to line up. It helps keep you kind of aligned with where the chords fall within the tune. All right. So actually, what I just did without even thinking of it was repeat that section because we do get that chord progression 2 times. We have the C, F, C, G7, and then you do the same thing again, C, F, C, G7. Okay, so in total so far, let's just go through it one more time. From the beginning, we had our C chord, twinkle, twinkle, going to our F chord, back to C, down to your G7, C chord, G7 again, C. Now the part we just did, the one that repeats 2 times, we have our C, F, C, G7. One more time, C, F, C, G7. And then we actually repeat the very first chord progression that we did when we played along with the opening. That is C up to F, C, G7, C, G7, C. Now I know this is a lot to try to memorize, and I'm not expecting you to do that. Take a look at the description box. I've listed all of the chords in their order in the description box, so you can use that, or write it down, so you can put it up at the keyboard in front of you, whatever is helpful to you. So the goal for this week is to get the left hand very comfortable moving through those chords. If you are there, or if you get there within a few days and you want to try hands together, you're more than welcome to do that. Just go very slowly. I would stick maybe just to the theme. What you'll notice is that the right hand almost always has a note that is shared with the left hand. That's kind of part of the reason the right hand and the left hand sound good together. And if playing the theme is comfortable for you, then you can start to, make it a little bit more difficult by doing some of the other rhythms and stuff that we did in the other lessons, the other variations, while keeping your chord there. So that, I think, is a good amount to work on for this week. So let's take a look at one more warm-up that I wanted to introduce you to, just to give you something else as a potential thing to wake your fingers up, not just so that you don't always have to do the same one that we've been working on in the past couple of lessons. Okay, so in our previous lessons, one of the warm-ups that I've had us doing for a few weeks is the one where you start on C, you walk up and down, skip up and down, and then you play a chord, and then you take the pattern and move it up the white keys. We're going to keep with the same idea, but rather than having our fingers going in parallel motion, so both hands walking to the right, walking up, walking down, we're actually going to do contrary motion. So we're going to start with our pinkies, or actually, yeah, let's start with the pinkies. So pinkies, and then we're going to walk in, out, skip in, skip out, chord. Okay, so it's the same idea, just kind of like mirror, hands doing a mirror image kind of a thing. So pinkies, this one may actually feel even better perhaps to you than the one we were doing with the parallel motion, because here the fingers that are the same in both hands line up, so there's kind of a nice balance and symmetry to that. And then that would take you back to C. So that's just a subtle change on kind of the similar pattern, but feels a little bit different and gives your fingers something new to try. Great job on piano lesson number 6. I hope you're excited to be getting to the stage of learning chords and putting the chords together with the melody in the right hand. In terms of practicing, I would, do the warm-up. That shouldn't take you more than a couple minutes. Maybe run through it a few times if actually your fingers aren't feeling super limber after just one octave of running through the warm-up. In terms of the twinkles, I would still practice the theme and all of the rhythmic variations, hands separately and hands together, 2 to 3 times maybe, and then spend the majority of your practice session on the chords. I would go through the chord progression in the left hand maybe 5 to 7 times, And, you know, see if you can get to the point. I know that I mentioned that I have the chord progression written down in the description box. See if you can get to the point where you don't need to look, because what you want to do is develop your ear too, to hear when the chords change and how they change, where they go. So see if, you know, when you're playing along, even if you're not doing the right hand, in your head you can kind of be thinking of the Twinkle melody and the words and feeling when is the time to change the chord. After a day, 2 days, however many days of doing the left hand alone, when you start to feel really confident, then you can try it hands together with the right hand. I would stick maybe just to doing the theme at first to keep it relatively simple. And then once that becomes easy for you, I would start adding in the rhythmic and technical variations in the right hand. So that gives us more to think about. So, you know, with the left hand, maintaining the chords, then adding all these other elements in with the right hand. So all of those things all together should take you maybe 15 to 20 minutes a day. You're always welcome to do more, but I want to, you know, have lessons out there that are not too much in terms of time commitment for people, but still enough to really make some progress in a short amount of time. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know down below, and otherwise I'll see you at our next lesson.